A massive 6-3 Supreme Court victory just dropped, and over 600,000 people are about to feel the impact immediately. This ruling came in the explosive battle between Homeland Security, lower court judges, and activist organizations that have been fighting for years to keep temporary protections permanent. The Supreme Court said enough is enough. The power to enforce our immigration laws is back where it belongs, with the executive branch. We're breaking down exactly what this means, who's panicking right now, and why this could be the biggest deportation case of the year. Hit that subscribe button, because these Supreme Court decisions are coming fast, and you need to know how they affect you and your family. The court handed down their decision with a 6-3 vote, and the numbers tell a story that most media outlets aren't covering completely. We're talking about 600,000 individuals who had what's called temporary protected status, or TPS. But here's what makes this case absolutely critical to understand. The average person with TPS has been in the United States for over 12 years. 12 years on a status that literally has the word temporary in its name. Think about that for a moment. The Supreme Court looked at this situation and said the executive branch has the authority to end these protections without needing permission from lower court judges who have been blocking enforcement for years. TPS was originally created back in 1990 as a short-term humanitarian response to natural disasters and armed conflicts in foreign countries. It was supposed to last 6 to 18 months maximum. The idea was simple. If a hurricane destroys Haiti or an earthquake devastates El Salvador, we give people temporary refuge until conditions improve enough for them to return safely. But bureaucratic extensions turned months into years, and years into decades. Nobody ever went home because every time the deadline approached, advocacy groups pressured the government to extend the status again. The government's argument in this Supreme Court case was simple and logical. If one administration can grant temporary status under its executive authority, the next administration can remove it under that same authority. And the Supreme Court agreed. Judge Edward Chen sits on the federal bench in the Northern District of California and has been the main roadblock to ending these protections for years, even before President Obama appointed him to the federal bench in 2011. Chen spent years as a staff attorney and national board member of the American Civil Liberties Union. Let that sink in. The same SCU that has been fighting these deportation cases in court is the exact organization that trained and employed the judge who issued the injunction blocking the government's actions. Chen has ruled against immigration enforcement in over 40 separate cases since taking the bench. His courtroom in San Francisco has become the go-to venue for immigration activists because they know exactly what they're going to get from him. In this particular case, Judge Chen issued an injunction that stopped the government from ending TPS for Venezuelans and Haitians, claiming the administration didn't follow proper procedures. He extended the protected status multiple times, pushing the deadline from month to month and creating what legal experts call injunction creep, where temporary court orders become quasi-permanent because they keep getting renewed over and over. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals backed him completely, which is exactly why this had to go all the way to the Supreme Court for a final resolution. Justices Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan formed the dissenting bloc. Jackson wrote a lengthy opinion that reads more like an activist brief than a legal analysis. She spent 14 pages describing the humanitarian crisis in Venezuela, covering economic collapse, political repression, and lack of basic services like electricity and clean water. Her argument claims that sending people back to difficult conditions is inherently cruel, regardless of what the law says about temporary status. But here's the massive problem with that logic. Using the same standard, almost every developing nation on Earth could qualify for permanent protected status. There are currently 54 countries where the State Department has issued travel warnings due to crime, instability, poverty, or poor infrastructure. If we establish a precedent that we can't deport anyone to a country with problems, we've essentially created open borders through judicial decree. That's not what Congress intended when it created TPS as a temporary humanitarian measure. Jackson's dissent also claimed the administration didn't provide adequate reasoning for ending the protections. But the majority opinion pointed out clearly that the law doesn't require the government to explain why a temporary program is ending. Temporary means temporary. It doesn't require a dissertation on why something that was always supposed to be short-term is finally ending. Over the past 8 years, federal district judges have issued more than 300 nationwide injunctions blocking immigration enforcement policies. Think about the scope of that judicial power. A single judge in one district can halt enforcement across all 50 states with the stroke of a pen. This Supreme Court ruling does something far beyond just this one TPS case. It sends a clear signal to lower courts that they can't keep substituting their personal judgment for the executive branch's constitutional authority on immigration matters, Boyazaudi. The Constitution gives Congress the power to set immigration law and the executive branch the power to enforce it. Nowhere does it say a district court judge can override enforcement decisions simply because they disagree with the policy on humanitarian or political grounds. What's been happening for years is a practice called a forum shopping. Activist organizations file their lawsuits in districts where they know judges will be sympathetic to their cause. They get nationwide injunctions that apply everywhere, not just in that particular district. Then the appeals process takes years to wind through the system, and during all that time, the injunction stays in place. By the time the Supreme Court finally reviews the case, the temporary status has been extended so many times that advocates argue it would be cruel and disruptive to end it now. The media keeps saying 600,000 people lose their protections, but that number is actually conservative and doesn't tell the full story. Venezuela accounts for roughly 350,000 individuals with TPS. Haiti adds another 250,000, but there are also protected populations from El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, Nepal, Sudan, South Sudan, Syria, Ukraine, and Yemen. When you add up every country that received TPS designations over the past 15 years, you're looking at potentially 1.2 million people, not all of whom will lose protection immediately, because some countries still have valid designations that haven't been challenged in court yet. But this Supreme Court ruling establishes the legal precedent that any of them can be ended without courts interfering in the executive branch's decision. The economic impact is significant, and it's worth understanding both sides of this argument. These individuals have been working legally for years, paying into Social Security, holding jobs, signing apartment leases, and putting kids in public schools. The dissenting justices argued that suddenly removing work authorization would cause chaos in communities and businesses that rely on this labor. But the counterargument from the majority is that keeping people here indefinitely on temporary status actually creates even more chaos in the long run. Vote. It incentivizes more illegal immigration. If everyone knows that a temporary really means permanent and advocacy groups will sue to keep extending protections forever, more people will try to enter illegally, hoping to eventually qualify for protected status. It undermines the legal immigration system, where millions of people wait in line for years to come here the right way. The Supreme Court didn't just say the current administration can end TPS for these specific countries. They said any administration can end any temporary immigration program without having to justify it to federal judges. That's a huge shift in the balance of power between the branches of government. For decades, immigration policy has been made through a mix of congressional statutes, executive actions, and judicial interpretations. Courts have often stepped in, saying an executive action violated the Administrative Procedure Act, didn't have adequate justification, or didn't properly consider alternatives. This ruling changes that. When it comes to temporary immigration statuses, the executive branch now has almost unreviewable discretion. If the next president wants to end DACA, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, this ruling supports that action. If a future administration wants to terminate TPS for every country simultaneously, courts can't stop it based on procedural arguments. The majority opinion specifically rejected the idea that the government has to provide detailed explanations or consider alternatives before ending a temporary program. Temporary programs can be ended because they're temporary. Period. This decision will embolden the current administration to take actions it might have hesitated on before, knowing courts are far less likely to block them. For years, administrations of both parties have been reluctant to make bold moves on immigration because activist lawyers could immediately file suit in a friendly district and get a nationwide injunction within hours. That created a chilling effect where the executive branch couldn't fully exercise its constitutional authority. This Supreme Court ruling removes that chilling effect. The deportation timeline will unfold over the next several months. For the 600,000 people directly affected, work authorization will expire on specific dates unless the government grants extensions. Without work authorization, they can't legally hold jobs. Without legal status, they become subject to deportation proceedings if ICE prioritizes them. In reality, ICE doesn't have the resources to immediately deport 600,000 people. Enforcement will be gradual. Some may leave voluntarily, some will seek other forms of relief like asylum, and others will eventually face deportation orders. Appeals will continue in lower courts, but those courts now have clear guidance from the Supreme Court. They can't block the termination of temporary status based on procedural arguments. State-level responses will vary. Sanctuary states like California and New York may refuse to cooperate with federal enforcement and could provide state-level benefits to people losing federal protection. Other states may fully cooperate with ICE and even use state resources to assist enforcement. This creates a patchwork where your legal status depends heavily on your state. The media isn't covering the full story because framing depends on political perspective. Conservative outlets emphasize the rule of law, separation of powers, and the fact that temporary was always supposed to mean temporary. Liberal outlets emphasize humanitarian concerns, disruption to families and communities, and conditions in countries people would be deported to. What's rarely covered is the forum shopping angle, the injunction creep problem, and judicial activism by judges like Edward Chen with clear ASLU backgrounds. Most stories say 600,000 are affected, when the reality could be closer to 1.2 million once all TPS countries are counted. This Supreme Court ruling just shifted the entire balance of power on immigration enforcement. Lower court judges blocking enforcement now know their injunctions will be overturned. Activist organizations relying on forum shopping see their strategy weakened. Future administrations know they have clear authority to end temporary programs without endless litigation. This is one of the most significant immigration law decisions in decades and will reshape enforcement policy for years to come. Stay updated on these major legal decisions that impact your life and your country. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown when the next major ruling drops.